Revolutionary War reenactors with the Overmountain-Victory-Trail-Association traveled to Morganton Friday, October 1st to hold the annual commemoration of local patriot soldiers who marched through the area and crossed the Catawba-River exactly 241 years ago on their way to the Battle of Kings Mountain, which turned the tide of the war in America's favor.
Overmountain men to come from the other side of the mountain, and we were headed trying to find a man by the name of Major Patriot. Now what the deal is here, you folks on this side of the mountain been fighting this Revolutionary War. Right now it's the year 1780. Revolutionary War has been going on about 5 years now, and they've moved from the north down to the south, trying to stir you folks up over here, trying to get you to join the crown again, become loyal to the king once more. But Ferguson sent a message to us on the other side of the mountain and threatened us. To begin with, we weren't supposed to be over there because the king said there's a line up there on that mountain that you're not supposed to be past because that belongs to the Indians. Well, part of the job was to get us back. And so Ferguson sent a message over there and told us to lay down our arms to come back and pledge our allegiance back to the king, or he'd come across the mountain and lay waste our crops and homes and hang our leaders. Well, we didn't like that. So September 25th, we mustered in a place called Fort Watauga, and we had 400 men come from Virginia, and we had 260 men, 240 men that came from the hosting settlements, and another 240 men that came from the Nola-Chucky settlement merged in. And Colonel McDowell, I'm sure you all are quite familiar with, he had a few men over there also. We had about 1,000 men there when we mustered in, left out the next morning on the 26th, and there was a Presbyterian minister who delivered a very fine message to us by the name of Reverend Samuel Doe. We crossed the mountain, and we got to Shelving Rock, spent the night there, crossed over the mountain, and that morning, after we got on top of the mountain, we had a roll call and found there was 2 men missing at Chambers and Crawford. So we figured they'd gone to tell Ferguson that we were on the way. Well, a couple days later, that posed a problem for us because the trail split, went 2 ways, Turkey Cove and North Cove. So what we did there, we divided our forces and said we'll meet back together again over at Dale House, which we call Quaker Meadows. So we met in there. While we were there, of course it'd been raining, while we were there, Colonel Cleveland from Wilkes-Barre area joined us there. We were up to about 1,500 men at that time. We left there hunting Ferguson. Information said he was at Gilbert Town, just down the road here a piece. So we get to Gilbert Town, we go storming out in the field like we were taught by the Indians on the other side of the mountain, scream, yell, and holler, and that's what we did. Ferguson's gone. We don't know where he went, can't find any tracks. So one of the men with us said, I believe he's headed down to a place in South Carolina called Fort 96. So we turned and headed that direction. Well, that night, we camped at the Alexander's Ford. During the night, we had a rider come riding into camp. We thought he was a spy. He yanked him off the horse. Some of them was beating on him, some of them said they was hanging, some of them just wanted to plain out shoot him. He said, my name is Colonel Lacey. Take me to Sevier, he knows who I am. So we did. Sevier recognized who he was, and Lacey says, where y'all headed? What are you doing? Well, you know we're after Ferguson, and we're headed toward Fort 96. He said, that's not the direction that Ferguson, or Cornwallis is in, that Ferguson's in. He's headed up to Charlottetown Pike, get reinforcements. So the agreement was the next day, we come back together at Cowpens, and then we continue on to find Ferguson. Well, down up in the day, we get in there. Lacey brings his men a little later in the day. Officers get together and plan out what they're going to do. 9 o'clock that night, they select the best 900 horses, the best 900 men, leave cow pens, heading toward the Charlottetown Road, Pike. Well, up in the day, this will be on the 7th of October, up in the day, about lunchtime or so, a little after probably, run up on a little farmhouse, and we wondered if they got to know where Ferguson is. We had a young scout with us, a young man, quite talented in things he did. He's sort of like an actor. He became, as some would say, he could dance around the truth, but not necessarily just tell you an out-and-out lie, but he could work around it and get out of it. He said, if you'll send me down to that house down there, I'll find Ferguson for you. Said we told him to go on down there, and he went. Knocked on the door, 2 ladies come to the door, and he rears back, and he says, my name is Enoch. I want to join Major Patrick Ferguson's army. I want to fight with him. And they were just tickled to death. Said, we know where he's at. He's over there on Kings Mountain. We storm in the door, grab him up, call him a traitor and all that, throw a noose around his neck. We're going to hang you. The lady said, no, don't. So the officer said, now take him out down the road there. We'll hang him down the road. Well, we get down the road. We don't hang him because he went to get the information. Where is Ferguson? He's over on Kings Mountain. Well, some of the men from Lacey's group, some of them Lacey and so forth, they're familiar with Kings Mountain. And he said there's a hunting cabin up there and kind of lay of the land. So we head toward Kings Mountain. Well, as I said, it had been raining. Did 2 things for us there. 2 things. There was no dust from all the riding we were doing because the ground was not dusty and dirty. It was wet, sort of muddy. Also, if you stepped on a stick, it was soft enough that it didn't pop and crack. So we surrounded the mountain. Just about the time everybody got in their positions, Ferguson's men saw us, fired on us. That was at 3 o'clock on October 7th. The battle lasted an hour and 5 minutes. Men charged up, were pushed back to bayonet. Charged back up again, a little farther. 3rd time we got almost to the top. Some of Colonel Severe's men, one of them looked up and said, there's Ferguson. Puts his gun up there to pull the trigger, pulls it, and goes click. So he turns to the man beside of him, a 62-year-old man with the name of Robert Young. He says, Robert, right up there's Ferguson. See what you can do. Well, Robert had a nickname for his wife, for his wife. But he also named his rifle after his wife. His wife's name was Mary. He didn't call her that, so I said he had a nickname, Sweet Lips. That's what he called it. So that's what he called his rifle too. So he puts old Sweet Lips up, and let's see what Sweet Lips will do. He gets ready, pulls the trigger, boom! Ferguson come out of the saddle. His foot got caught. By the time they stopped his horse, he had 8 more bullet holes in him.
Wow.
So we got Ferguson, and we won that battle. It's been said since then that Kings Mountain was a turning point of the Southern strategy of the Revolutionary War.